London, Europe's largest metropolis, is deserving of its reputation as a global mecca for many of the finest things in life. Over the centuries, many of the world's greatest creative minds, artists and craftspeople have found both a home and the freedom to hone their skills in this inspiring city. This week, the Luxury Channel goes in search of some of the capital city's most exclusive and extraordinary artisans. We're invited into the workshops of the world's most sought-after sporting gun manufacturers. We go in search of Savile Row's original tailors. We meet with a theatrical wig maker to the stars, see behind the scenes at England's most respected cricket bat maker, and savour the finest smoked salmon in London's East End. We're in Mayfair, in our search for the finest London artisans, and we're here to see Purdy, the English gun makers who've been making beautiful guns for generations. I'm here to meet Nigel Beaumont, Managing Director of Purdy's, who also happens to be the great-grandson of one of the original founders of this great London establishment. We're in the long room at Purdy's. Can you tell us a bit more about this room and the building and its history?
This whole building on the corner of South Audley Street here was built by the second Purdy, James Purdy the Younger. It was opened by him in 1881 as his gun emporium. So it was from this room that he controlled all his gun makers.
Today, Purdy is recognised as possibly the world's leading sports gun manufacturer. Indeed, to own a Purdy is considered a rare privilege.
It was a question of turning out the best work to attract the best clients. It is our attention to the fineness of the making of the guns and the backup service. That is how Purdy's has survived ever since.
A philosophy that attracted some very important clients as far back as 1838, when Queen Victoria purchased a pair of Purdy pistols from the founder of the company, James Purdy. The most iconic Purdy gun is the Purdy side-by-side 12-bore shotgun with the legendary Purdy ejection system, patented in 1880 and still very much in force today. So can you take me through the unique action and your main points of the weapon?
This really is the iconic product that Purdy built his reputation on. It's what is known as a easy opening action. When the gun is opened, it opens itself.
Right.
So there's very little effort in opening the gun and having the cartridge eject. That is an inherent, easy opening gun.
May I try the action?
Certainly.
So it opens very easy, and then only slightly harder than a conventional shotgun to close.
That's right.
And over. And I note here we have another example which is a lot more intricate on the engraving.
This is our over and under gun.
And do they normally have more engraving, or is this just on this version here?
No, you can have whatever you want engraved on the gun, within reason, of course. This gun has some gold inlays and a large scroll engraved at the surface as well.
I notice as well the sheen on the wood is amazing. What you use to get that sort of lustrous, mirror-like and absolutely perfect finish on it, it's spotless.
This is what they call an oil finish. When I'm touching the stock there, what I'm doing is touching the wood itself.
Yes.
It's not like a varnish or a French polish. The finish here is migrated into the wood. It's a mixture of linseed oil, beeswax and paint dry. I mean, some people describe these as functional art. That is very close to what I would describe this as. It is also described quite often as men's jewellery.
The Purdy workshops are to be found several miles away in London's Hammersmith. There are 7 stages in the manufacture of a Purdy shotgun, which translate into 7 different trades or crafts. Every Purdy artisan has had a minimum of 5 years apprenticeship in the fine art of gun making before specialising in a particular discipline. For instance, the barrel maker has been fine-tuning his craft for over 30 years now. From the complexities of the action and the unique cartridge ejection system to the finish on the stock and the exquisite detailed engraving, the Purdy Artisan is an absolute master of his craft. We've talked about how there's 7 different stages of gun making. How many pieces actually go up to make a Purdy gun?
About 130 individual pieces in a sidelock gun. All of those pieces are made by us here in this factory.
The Purdy workshop produces on average a mere 90 guns a year for as few as 40 to 50 clients, testament to the Purdy name's exclusivity and the rarity of the guns themselves. The big question is, what would one expect to pay for a sort of standard side-by-side?
It's between 70 and 80,000 pounds. Well, of course, you can go up to whatever you like. Depends on what kind of decoration you have. I mean, they could double in price. Some of them have even trebled in price. It does depend on the decoration and the engraving.
I'm left believing that the name Purdy remains a real tribute to London's reputation as a nucleus for true artisanry. A visit to the United Kingdom's capital city would not be complete without a night out in the popular West End. London theatre is as good as it gets. And when it comes to the backstage artists and craftspeople who form the backbone of every show, London has many of the industry's finest. One such acclaimed artisan is Richard Morby, theatrical wig maker to the stars.
Wig making is undoubtedly a great craft. It is something which has been passed down over centuries, and it is an old-fashioned skill and something which should be cherished.
Richard's company, Wig Specialities, is something of an institution in the entertainment world. His introduction to the stage was when he met the legendary drag entertainer, the late Danny LaRue, over 30 years ago.
Yes, the years with Danny LaRue, I always called it baptism by fire. Because, I was a hairdresser. I knew nothing about wigs except how to style a head of hair. And I think this is the essence of it. People forget that it is a head of hair. You've made it, yes. So you need to go at it as though you were dressing hair. You don't think, oh, it's a wig. It will never look natural if you do that. So yes, the Danny LaRue time was extremely important for me, and because of the wealth of knowledge that I got, not only about how to present things on the stage, but also how to deal with performers. And that's something you need to know a lot about in this business.
For 10 years, Richard travelled the world with Danny LaRue as his personal assistant and hairdresser, a job which included up to 30 wig changes in a single performance.
And then eventually it came that I thought, I can't live somebody else's life for the rest of mine. I would like occasionally to go home in the evening because you're in the theatre till 11 o'clock at night. And I came here to Wig Specialities, and now I can do what I want, almost when I want.
Richard's list of clients reads like a who's who from stage and screen. The London production of Hairspray, Richard Harris, Ewan McGregor, Angelina Jolie, Madonna, Matt Lucas, Graham Norton, the list goes on and on.
I'm always very proud to say, and I always say it in biographies, I'm personal wig maker to Sir Sean Connery and the great Dame Edna Everage. And what that really means is that they are so loyal, they never go to anybody else. Sean will ring and say, hi, I'm coming in. And of course, Edna, well, that's a whole trip, and I just love every minute of it.
The process of crafting and manufacturing the perfect wig is so much more than purely reinventing a head of hair. I asked Richard to explain.
I don't think really that anybody realises the amount of work which goes into making a wig. It arrives at a theatre, it's done, people think that's fine. But with every hair being sewn in, I think that's the best way to describe it, sewn in a way it's a little bit like crochet work, that sort of thing. And people take a long time to learn how to do this. And a full wig, to put in every hair by hand is going to take even an experienced person a good 4 to 5 days to do. So it's quite intense. But there's a lot of preparation before all that. We have to choose the hair. We have to make sure it's the right texture to work for the hairstyle that we're creating. The hair often has to be coloured. It might even have to be permed if you want a particular curl, although sometimes I'm able to get naturally curly hair from hair merchants. Then you get them on the stage and you look and you think, actually, this doesn't work. So you go back to the drawing board and you have to reset it. There's an awful amount of work involved.
And of course, the disciplines of creating a wig for film or television differ hugely from that of the theatre.
There is a big difference between the work that you do for the stage or the theatre as opposed to the work for film and television. Because that camera, which of course I'm staring at now, is unforgiving. And when you're talking about natural hairlines, we have to use incredibly fine materials for the fronts of our wigs so that the cameras don't pick up. And now with all this high definition, it's becoming more and more difficult to achieve. On the stage, you can use something a little stronger, you won't see it, and also it has to last longer.
And to round up, Richard, a Danny LaRue story?
The Danny LaRue stories, of course, are legend. One of my favourites, we had a visit to the theatre from a famous American actress and singer called Alice Faye, who I got on particularly well with. And the following week, I was thrilled and I ran into his dressing room, he was making up as usual, and I said, Danny, I'm so excited. Alice Faye sent me a postcard to say thank you. Really, love, he said. I got a letter.